And welcome, everybody, to a special edition of Sports Talk for You. We are here to talk about the NFL Draft, the virtual NFL Draft. What an amazing night it was last night for the first round. All the GMs, owners, Roger Goodell from his basement calling all the picks out. I mean, it was, in a way, kind of fun to see all the GMs and coaches, head coaches' basements and their nice houses. And here we are in our regular houses doing our show. I want to welcome in Armand Ely and Adam Parker. Hello, boys.
Greetings from Cookie Berry's house.
Hello.
And his setup was very nice.
Yes, and let's not forget Mike Zimmer's moose heads and all that stuff in his background in his basement. I mean, you can tell that guy's a hunter just from experience there.
Exactly.
Let's go ahead and, of course, we all know number 1 overall pick, that was a definite. And the number 2 overall pick, we all know that was a definite. So just do you give your guys' opinions on Joey Burrow, Chase Young? What do you think they'll do in the NFL? You think they'll have a great career? You think one of them will just be a plain old bust? What's your guys' predictions?
Well, of course, my guy, Chase Young, hopefully if he stays healthy, he's going to be a stud on the opposite side of Montez Sweat. And then you got Kerrigan. And then you have Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen. That is one potent defensive line right there. And as long as Chase Young stays healthy and some of that defensive line, the Skins could have a potential top 5 defense either next year or the year after. That's the only pick that the Redskins had. That was the only choice. You had to make that pick.
Yeah, and there was talk about teams wanting to trade up to the Redskins, and Redskins just kept declining it because the Redskins knew right there and then they want the guy they wanted, and they got him.
We knew that they were going to take Chase Young back in December when we had the number 2 pick. There was just no doubt. I saw articles and I listen to ESPN 980 sometimes about them maybe possibly drafting Tua, which was preposterous and just a ploy to drum up conversation. But Chase Young was their guy from the beginning, and they got the guy.
Yeah, had you guys traded that pick away or done anything other than Chase Young, I think that would have been one of the biggest errors in NFL draft history. That would come close, but not surpassing the Cowboys giving up Randy Moss when they had the chance. I feel Chase Young's going to be a stud. I think Joe Burrow is going to be a stud. Honestly, everybody who picked last night, except for one team, which I'll name later, but they all had a great draft. I believe that they got who they needed, honestly. And, I'm just ecstatic that the Raiders went with Ruggs and not Lamb. And I'm just thankful that my Cowboys actually picked the best available player, which was CD Lamb at the time.
Now, here's the thing about that. Was that the Cowboys' number 1 choice, or did they do that to take him away from Philadelphia?
I believe it was their number 1 choice. Like, okay, you have obviously your board, and they were number 17, and there were 2 wide receivers, okay, if you include Ruggs, 3. And there were about 5 teams who actually needed a receiver before the Cowboys. And so the dream scenario would be to get CD Lamb. There's no doubt about it. But the reality was that they were looking at was either getting Delpit of LSU or safety McKinney. Now, with the signing of Clinton Dix, that kind of allowed the Cowboys a little bit of room to make a splash in the first round if need be, because he's kind of that Band-Aid for him at safety for maybe 1 year or 2.
Yeah.
And then at corner, okay, it's a definite big need, okay, because of Jones departing, all right? But when you have a talent that is of CeeDee Lamb, you cannot overlook it. And the last time the Cowboys overlooked as a wide receiver of this potential was Randy Moss back in whatever draft class he was in.
Yeah.
But I was
1998.
1998. So I was absolutely ecstatic that they picked him because, I mean, you have to know, as a Cowboy fan in the past years, it's always been, okay, well, this guy is a generational type player. Can we pick him up? And they would always bypass those guys. And it's so frustrating seeing these guys flourish on other teams. But I believe last night was one of the best pickups the Cowboys could have ever dreamed of. Best dream scenario. And so anyway, and just real quick, just to kind of put the point to rest, we got lucky because none of our guys that we were looking at in the first round, okay, had CeeDee Lamb been taken, were not picked in the first round. That's McKinney and that's Delpit. And there were about 12 other guys that we are looking at, according to one of the other sources that I watch, and they were not touched. So here comes the second round, and if you are able to get one of those guys that you had on your board who you thought were going to go in the first round and end up being not taken, basically you're getting 2 first-rounders in the first 2 rounds. So we'll see tonight whether Delpit or McKinney get picked before I know the Cowboys have the 19th pick in the second round. So it'll just be really, really interesting to see where it goes. But honestly, it could not have been a better night for the Cowboys as far as who's available and how CeeDee Lamb fell in their lap. And yes, the cherry on top is that it screwed the Philadelphia Eagles, and that is payback for taking Dallas Gortat 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So that's my little spiel. So all I got to say is, how about them Cowboys? Haven't been
Well,
able to say that in quite a while, but I am ecstatic.
Excellent. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. That's called the Green Bay Packers. And they're
Yes. Jordan Love. Why would you trade up to get Jordan Love?
that's the problem that I have. They traded up to get him. If you wanted to draft Jordan Love, that's fine, but you traded up to get Jordan Love, where you still have a very productive Aaron Rodgers, who took his team 1 game away to the Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers needs weapons around him, not someone who's going to replace him within a year or 2. I thought that was one of the oddest, dumbest, strangest draft moves I've seen in recent history, trading up to get Jordan Love.
Well, the fact that
trading up for him.
Yes, and the fact that his junior year he had 35 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and then he came back his senior year with 20 touchdowns and 17 interceptions. So what do they see in that guy?
He actually does have quite a bit of talent. Like addressed in the previous show, he lost a lot of players, a lot of talent around him. It's a lot of these scouts looked at his junior season. He had a damn good junior season. Senior season wasn't the case because he had no one to throw to. And when you don't have no one to throw to, you're going to be just an average quarterback. But any of the NFL scouts will address, hey, look at Matt Castle. Matt Castle was a backup at USC and ended up being a starter in the National Football League. Had 1 good year with the Patriots when Tom Brady goes down. But when you trade up to get a player like that, that is very odd and peculiar.
Yeah. And also, the draft had history last night. For the first time since the era of the draft in 1967, 3 quarterbacks went in the top 6 picks. Did you see this coming?
Oh, yes, absolutely. You had a certain amount of quarterbacks that were top of the line like Joe Burrow. Hey, if Justin Herbert came out last year, he would have been a top 10 pick. I think Justin Herbert's going to be the sleeper of this quarterback draft from the
Now
top 10.
with Tua's
I think
injuries, he could turn out to be a big draft bust. I mean, that's his main issue, is staying healthy.
Well, that's anyone's main issue, staying healthy. He'll probably won't start. He will start behind, Fitzmagic, and of course, that ends the Josh Rosen era of the Miami Dolphins,
Yes.
the short-lived Josh Rosen era from Arizona to Miami to, I don't know, maybe Canada, maybe.
Yeah.
But
Josh Rosen's new name is trade bait. That's
there
all
was a
he
point
is.
that the Washington Redskins and the Redskins fans last year wanted Josh Rosen so badly. And I was one of those guys like, why? What in the hell has he done? Why?
Yeah.
I'm going to go on just a small little rant here real quick. The Pac-12/Pac-10 quarterbacks have not really panned out in the NFL. You can say Carson Palmer, sure, a little bit.
Drew Bledsoe,
we have
bro?
Who?
Drew Bledsoe?
Well, no, I'm talking about – sorry, I should have clarified, like in the 2000s. I'm not talking about the days of like Drew Bledsoe, Aikman, Elway, all those guys. But I'm talking from like Carson Palmer. You've got Gary Sanchez, the butt fumbler. You got Matt Leinart. You have even Marcus Mariota, who won the Heisman and has turned out to be not really that great. I mean, granted, he had a flash here and there, but it's nothing spectacular.
Don't forget about Joey Harrington, who was a bust.
Yes.
Yep.
Another thing I was really surprised of last night was how many offensive tackles were taken in this draft. 6 offensive tackles in the first round. I cannot remember the last time that has happened.
It's interesting because I don't remember that either. But here's the deal.
There's still 3 good ones out there for the second round.
There is, but also, too, this class this year is not very good in the offensive line department. One of the teams who really, really needed an offensive line help was Seattle.
Yeah.
But Seattle ended up going linebacker, which I don't understand. But here's the deal. That guy that they picked up is an excellent, excellent player and could be Frank Clark 2.0 or Cam Chancellor type hybrid. Like, he's a hybrid linebacker. But here's the deal. This year with the offensive line, it's not as strong as it's been the last few years. And so, honestly, I could see the first, how many got picked? About 4 to 6 of them. Yeah. I mean, you're looking at a total of about 8 guys who are legitimate, like, hey, they could semi-start right now. Whereas all the other ones are kind of projects.
Well, we know Wirtz is going to start because they're going to want to protect Brady right off the bat.
Well,
so
correct.
Wirtz will start for the Buccaneers.
And Andrew Thomas from Georgia.
Right. But the point is, the pickings at offensive line for this draft were so few that you had to get them right away. You didn't have time to wait. I mean, that's the whole point of it with this.
Well, I think Jedrick Wills will be a starter right away for the Browns.
Mm-hmm.
The guy's a beast. Yeah. I mean, plain and simple. He should have went top 6, top 7, in my opinion.
Yep. No, I believe like the first 4, even 6 of them will start in the NFL off the bat.
Let's get down to the nitty-gritty Las Vegas Raiders, who once again, year after year, disappoint their fans with Arnett, who was predicted to go late 2nd, early 3rd. Why in the world did John Gruden go after this guy?
Well,
he heard the ghost of Al Davis.
Yeah,
that could be it too. But here's also another thing. Watching Ohio State play this year, one of their biggest keys was their secondary. They had those 2. Well, that one shutdown corner who went pick number 3. Yeah. And then this other guy went to the Raiders, but the guy who went to the Raiders actually was going to be a first-round pick the following year, or not the following year, last year. But if it wasn't for his injury, he had to wait another year, play another year, and here he is now. But the thing of it is Ohio State, they were hard to beat passing wise in that secondary. So honestly, I could see that pick. It's not a sexy pick, okay, but I mean, I could see why they did it. And also, too, I just want to, since we're talking about the Raiders real quick, just thank them for passing up on CD Lamb and taking Ruggs. And you know something, if I watch a Raiders game and he scores, I finally get to say, well, that team got rug burned. So
Yes. Now another thing is the Broncos getting Jerry Jeudy and adding to what they really haven't had is a receiving core. I mean, they got Sutton, they got rid of Sanders, but Sutton and Jeudy, those are pretty much it right now.
correct.
And you got
And
Fonte
I was
tight end.
happy with that pick.
I think Fonte
I was
tight
happy
end will
with
come
was
through.
projected.
Yeah.
He's been long projected to go there to Denver as far as the mock draft goes. Way it's going to look at, they're going to need to have some weapons to have Drew Lock throw to.
But here's my thing. If Ruggs is a disappointment and Judy's a success, you know the Raiders are going to look back on that and say, why did we not get Jeudy?
Well, the draft is not an exact science. You know, there's a lot of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm just thankful as a Bronco fan, real quick, that Elway pulled the trigger on Jeudy. I mean, I was a little worried he might pick a random quarterback, you know, or some other weird pick. But anyway, I was happy as a Bronco fan.
Now, some of the biggest surprises of day one was our running backs. We did not see Dobbins or Swift, but instead we saw Clyde Edwards go ahead of these two running backs on pick number 32 for the Chiefs.
Hey, he's the next Priest Holmes.
Man.
He's the next Priest Holmes for you guys.
The thing was, he is the next Priest Holmes, but the thing was that he was just under the radar. Nobody talked about him. All you heard about was Dobbins and Swift and Jonathan Taylor, and then pop, bam, here comes Clyde Edwards with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, he's a bowling ball, man. I think they picked him up not just for his speed and moves, but also his blocking ability. When you have a guy that's –
I heard his catching is just amazing, and it sounds like he can be an awesome receiver to go along with that receiving core if they need a receiver in there too. And he's a three-down guy. I mean, that's what they need, a three-down guy, because the thing is, Damian Williams is injury-prone. The guy can't stay healthy. Darwin Thompson showed some light last year, but I think he still needs a couple years' work. And Darrell Williams, he's injury-prone too. He's already tore an ACL just in his first year and a half of playing in the league. I mean, they need a guy that's healthy, that can catch, that can play three downs in there.
Correct. And he, you know, it doesn't Williams have 1 year left on his contract too?
Yes. Well, so and it sounds like
great
that
replacement.
Andy Reid told Brett Veach that Clyde Edwards is better than Brian Westbrook was when Andy Reid coached him. And then I guess Brett Veach went to Patrick Mahomes before they had their guys lined up saying, who do you want if these guys get picked? And Patrick Mahomes told Brett Veach, I want Clyde Edwards.
And Brian Westbrook was a damn good player. We played him twice a year in his prime, and he was hard to stop.
Yeah, so it sounds like, in my opinion, here's my thing. Clyde Edwards is going to lead the league in rushing. Or not from all rushers. I'm just talking about rookies. He's going to lead the league in rookies when it comes to rushing and scrimmage yards.
I could see that. I really do. And you know what? He's in an offense where that's very, very doable, considering every team's going to want to stop Mahomes.
Yeah, because you can use Tyreek Hill as a decoy for an end around and give it to Edwards, or you can do the read option, fake Mahomes out, give it to Edwards. I mean, it's just a perfect setup. And this is why Brett Veach was named general manager, because the guy he knows what he's doing.
Right. So, at hindsight, well, not hindsight, when the name was announced, I was like, huh? What? because, I mean, honestly, it was Swift or Taylor. But the more you think about it, the more it seems like this is a better fit for the Kansas City Chiefs. So,
Yeah.
So here's another question. Who's got the better 1, 2, 3 receiving core now, the Cowboys or the Chiefs?
I mean, that's a toss-up because Gallup's a deep threat. Cooper's a good 10 and in that he can turn a 10-yard pass into a 70-yard touchdown. And of course, you got CeeDee Lamb, who's just speedy. But man, then you got Hill, Watkins, Hardman, speed galore. I mean, it's just that would be a Super Bowl game that everybody would want to watch.
Oh, most definitely, honestly. And
the problem is if the fraud Dak Prescott can get the Cowboys even to the playoffs. With that weapon, with CeeDee Lamb in there, if he does not take this team to the playoffs, he's got to go. Plain and simple.
Exactly. Oh, I agree. I wholeheartedly agree with that. He has no more excuses. None. You have arguably one of the best backs in Ezekiel Elliott to go with these 3 receivers. I mean, I guess next, if he were to struggle, he'd be like, well, I need a good tight end, But honestly, I couldn't have been more happy with that pick than what the Cowboys did yesterday, in all honesty. So I'm excited for round 2. Are you?
Yes, I am. As we keep going.
Who are the Chiefs looking for?
Here's my thing. The Chiefs need, in my opinion, they're going to either go after a cornerback or, I hate to say it, but McKinney's probably not going to be available come 63rd pick. But if Winfield Jr. or Delpit from LSU is available, they might go safety. Or they might even go defensive end and Espinoza from Iowa. To me, Chiefs are going defense.
Yeah. And it's interesting because those 3 players that you mentioned are all on the Cowboys' radar.
Yes.
So it'll be interesting.
You also got Trayvon Diggs. Will they go after him?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's another target too.
Chiefs lost Lucas. They lost Fuller, and I believe Armani Watts is coming back, but he's might not be 100%. But
right,
Chiefs are going to go after defense. If they don't go after defense, my best bet is they'll go after Mims from Baylor, wide receiver.
Yeah. Well, you never. There's not a bad pick for wide receiver this year. I mean, that's 1 through 28.
Now, here's the real. As we're here, by the way, Armand had an emergency. He had to leave the show, so it's just me and Adam Parker right now to finish this show out. But let's get our own opinions here. Quarterbacks, we have Jake Fromm is the best bet left, and then it goes Jalen Hurts and Jacob Eason. Who will New England get? Will New England go after Hurts, or will they go after Jake Fromm?
I think they're going after Aaron Rodgers.
You think they're going to go for the trade? Nah.
I don't. I mean, obviously, it's wishful thinking, and I'm not even a Packers fan. But just to give you my small opinion of that, it really made no sense to me because you had Mr. Love there in the second round to pick him up, and to not give Aaron Rodgers another weapon of any sort is just kind of mind-boggling because honestly, I am not sold on Love. I could be wrong, as always, and I'll admit when I'm wrong, but I'm just not.
I'm not sold on Love. That's why I was surprised they didn't go get Hurts or Fromm. I mean, I don't know why you go after this guy. It's just.
But here's the deal. Here's the deal to your question. I'm not impressed with Eason. He's got an opportunity of watching him play for Washington, and he's got a big arm, which I get, and a lot of scouts like working with guys with big arms. I understand that. But the guy was so inaccurate with his throws. For every 1 to 2 good plays he did, he had at least 5 that were just so why did you throw that? Or he would throw the pick. I'm just not sold on him. He was, to me, not a consistent Washington QB that Washington's had prior years.
Yeah.
So that's my take. I think the problem with Jalen Hurts, is his costly turnovers at the most inopportune times. That's running the ball and sometimes throwing an errant pass. but still he's up there on my radar for the Cowboys to get. And Jake Fromm, I mean, I like the guy. I mean, I really do. I've liked him for the past 3 years out of Georgia, and I think that he can make a pretty good quarterback in the NFL. I mean, we'll just see what happens, but just a final point, going to the Cowboys, if they end up taking a quarterback in round 2, 3, or 4, which believe me, I'm not saying they're going QB in 2. I don't see that happening. But somewhere around 3 and 4, then that's going to be a wake-up call for Dak Prescott to either get on board or not, because this train is about to leave.
Yes.
And you know what? They got the weapons now, and there's no stopping it. So it doesn't matter who's behind that center. I just, I can't wait for the season, and I can't wait to see what Dak does. So,
And Cincinnati Bengals, they go and get Joey Burrow. Do they need to go after wide receiver? Or do they need to go after offensive line? Because that offensive line was the worst last year in the league, and they got to protect Joey Burrow if they don't want an injury to him.
Well, if they want to protect Joe Burrow, they better get an offensive line.
Yes, they got to go after offensive line, because receivers, they still got John Ross, they got Tyler Boyd. I mean, they got receivers. I mean, they're not threats, but they got a receiving core that can get Joe Burrow somewhere in his rookie season. But he's got to be protected if he wants to get there.
Yeah, to your point though, like I said, this offensive line class is so weak that I don't know if there is a good offensive line guy out there.
I mean, could they trade up? Maybe get an offensive tackle?
I mean, they could. I mean, they could try that, but honestly, their
You just
best
don't see trades for offensive tackles.
Right. I mean, their best bet is just to get a lot of weapons.
Yeah.
In the draft. There's enough wide receivers out there that are not bad picks at all. No. And you know something too? They've been wanting to trade John Ross for some odd reason. So why not trade him for an offensive line guy? I mean, that's just my little take on the Bengals. I don't know. What do you guys think? Armand, what do you think?
Armand is still having – there he is.
Bengals will help they can. We're going 3-13. So we'll see what happens with the Bengals. I know what the Redskins need. The Redskins need to go the best available. They need tight end. They need maybe an extra running back. Obviously, more offensive line help. So we'll see what happens in this next few days of the draft.
Redskins could also use some receivers. You still got T. Higgins, Denzel Mims, and Michael Pittman Jr. out there. So possibility they could go after those receivers to help Dwayne Haskins out.
Well, they've got plenty. They got two pretty good ones, so they need tight end help more than they need receivers.
Yeah. All right, boys. Well, second, third rounds getting ready to get underway here in about an hour or so. So we will probably do another show tonight to get us going on the second and third rounds and see how the grading went on those. So stay tuned, and thanks for listening to our first round post-draft predictions. And we will see you guys tonight. Hopefully we will have Chris Anderson and Chase Gibson with us to go over Chris's Raiders and his beloved fan base. So we appreciate it, and we will see you guys later. Thanks.
Thank you.